but it looks as though she's a narcissist, like an actual diagnosed narcissist. Blake Lively fears profound mental health issues are at risk of being leaked. We have got to talk about this. It's just almost unbelievable that her lawyer would file this. It's just very bizarre. There's a lot of things that he could have talked about. Health issues is very alarming. I'm not making fun of that. I'm not in any way denigrating that. And it's making me want to dig deeper into what is really going on with her. Diagnosed with something that could actually affect this case and actually explain why she's the way she is. I believe this is probably related to personality disorders, but it's the same way we would see with Amber Heard and how everyone could see what was wrong with her. Amber Heard, who actually I guess did an evaluation of her, and she went on and talked about not only being a narcissist, but actually having histrionic personality disorder. There was a whole array of things. And then once you looked at the actual symptoms of it and you compared it to Amber Heard's behavior, it was like shocking to see how much her behavior lined up with this. And now let me just say this. Having a mental health disorder does not excuse you in any way from what you're doing. That Ryan Reynolds is not only a narcissist, but I believe he is a psychopath. Now, a psychopath, a sociopath, those aren't, but it's all falls under antisocial personality disorder, as the common person may, know it as being a psychopath or a sociopath. Again, you can clearly see, in my opinion, the narcissism at bare minimum that's going on with her. But let's get more into this. I wouldn't just put this out here unless it was really, really damn.
But it looks as though she's a narcissist, like an actual diagnosed narcissist. Blake Lively fears profound mental health issues are at risk of being leaked. We have got to talk about this. It's just almost unbelievable that her lawyer would file this. It's just very bizarre. There's a lot of things that he could have talked about. Health issues is very alarming. I'm not making fun of that. I'm not in any way denigrating that. And it's making me want to dig deeper into what is really going on with her, diagnosed with something that could actually affect this case and actually explain why she's the way she is. I believe this is probably related to personality disorders, but it's the same way we would see with Amber Heard and how everyone could see what was wrong with her. Amber Heard, who actually, I guess, did an evaluation of her, and she went on and talked about not only being a narcissist, but actually having histrionic personality disorder. There was a whole array of things. And then once you looked at the actual symptoms of it and you compared it to Amber Heard's behavior, it was like shocking to see how much her behavior lined up with this. And now, let me just say this, having a mental health disorder does not excuse you in any way from what you're doing. That a Ryan Reynolds is not only a narcissist, but I believe he is a psychopath. Now, a psychopath, a sociopath, those aren't, but it's all falls under antisocial personality disorder, as the common person may know it as being a psychopath or a sociopath. Again, you can clearly see, in my opinion, the narcissism at bare minimum that's going on with her. But let's get more into this. Wouldn't just put this out here unless it was really, really damaging. Is Blake Lively the victim of a ruthless Hollywood takedown, or is she the architect of her own downfall, now hiding behind mental health claims to avoid public scrutiny? That single question has ripped the entertainment world in two, fueling endless debates on social media, tabloids, and even among those cozy executive offices in Tinseltown. Because let's not forget, this isn't just some private feud between a couple of big-name celebrities. This is a full-blown legal war with a staggering $400 million countersuit, shocking allegations of bullying and defamation, and perhaps one of the most dramatic public relations meltdowns we've seen from a star of Blake's caliber in years. It really does seem like it was just a big mess. Like, she wants to be in that position, and this director, she's a really good director photographer. She won some awards recently. She's very so I'm not surprised. Quote, you feel a lot more alive as an actor when you have a director who's also filming moments and capturing that. Just in the context of everything that we've heard through this vacuum of authorship, I thought that was very interesting. She explains kind of how this movie came to be. And again, definitely there's Blake authorship here as well. Beyond authorship, obsession, stalking, I mean, my gosh, stalking Reed Morano, our director, and I was actually trying to get her to do another film of mine, and they told me that she was entirely unavailable, that it's not worth it. I called her agents, and I said, please just take a meeting with me, and they said, okay, she can meet tonight at 10:30 p.m. And they knew I lived 2 hours away from work. Like a little flipping comment, I can tell she must have bitched them, guys, I'm 2 hours Away, how would they else would they know where she freaking lives? Kim outside of her, they must have been so annoyed. They're like, oh, I tried to get rid of this girl. I was at 10:30 at night one night, and I begged her to do my movie, and she was meant to do another movie instead, and we instead spent the entire night talking about this script that she was obsessed with called The Rhythm Section. She wasn't hired as the director. I had never even heard of it, and we both left the meeting, wanting to make The Rhythm Section instead, but the problem was we weren't hired. Barbara Broccoli had no idea who either one of us were, so that's very telling, doo-doo. You know, 'cause I picked that up. She basically just got snuck the movie from Reed, who's in there. And I was like, I'll get you the meeting with Barbara, so you can maybe get it, but I'm going to be in it. Was that a tell there, Kim? She fell for it. She fell for it, guys. How it came to be. She says things, and it's like, I don't think she understands the way she sounds when she says them. Yes, you read that right. Years, this entire fiasco is shaping up to be bigger than the controversies that have brought down entire careers in the past, and now in a twist no one saw coming, Blake's lawyer dropped a bombshell. She supposedly has profound mental health issues. The timing, of course, has raised more than a few eyebrows. How convenient that this major revelation emerges just as the tide of public opinion starts tilting against her. It's a strategic pivot that screams, look at me, I'm fragile, at a moment when the world was about to roast her for alleged manipulations, on-set tantrums, and behind-the-scenes power plays. But is this genuine vulnerability we're seeing, or is it simply the next stage of a carefully choreographed plan, one orchestrated by none other than Blake's brand new crisis PR manager, a man known to have deep connections with the CIA, yes, the Central Intelligence Agency? It's a high-stakes maneuver that might just be the biggest play in the book of how to salvage a collapsing star persona. Let's break it all down piece by piece, taking you through every explosive claim, every rumor, and every suspicious coincidence thus turned Blake Lively's once pristine reputation into the Hollywood scandal of the season. It all began with what was supposed to be a box office slam dunk. It ends with us starring Blake Lively and directed by Justin Boney. Fans were over the moon to see Blake return to the kind of meaty, dramatic role that shot her to stardom, and Baldoni, fresh off the success of Jane the Virgin and his heartfelt directorial style, was hailed as the perfect match to adapt a beloved novel, and on paper it was a dream pairing that had marketing teams salivating off camera, though it devolved into a toxic war zone so messy that it's now the stuff of Hollywood lore. In late 2024, Blake Lively dropped the first bombshell when she filed a lawsuit accusing Justin Baldoni of sexual harassment and workplace retaliation. The claims were dark stories of intimidation, backhanded remarks on her looks, and a pervasive sense that she'd been cornered on creative decisions, according to her legal team. What started as a minor creative disagreement over script notes quickly spiraled into an environment she described as systemic bullying, culminating in a hostile production atmosphere. But Justin Baldoni didn't stay quiet for long. He clapped back with a $400 million defamation countersuit alleging that Blake and her husband Ryan Reynolds had orchestrated a plan to discredit him, sabotage his blossoming directorial career, and sink the film's prospects. Yes, even Ryan Reynolds got dragged into the crossfire, an ironic twist, given his usual beloved wise-cracking public persona. What followed can only be described as a nuclear meltdown of what was once a promising partnership. The press tore dead on arrival, promotions pulled the studio silent as a grave, and any hope of a friendly rap party or a measured dispute resolution went out the window faster than a trending hashtag on Twitter. Blake's lawsuit didn't just point a finger at Justin Baldoni for misconduct. It crafted an elaborate narrative suggesting that he actively worked to destroy her image by weaponizing the press. According to legal filings, Baldoni allegedly teamed up with high-powered crisis communication firms to leak negative stories about her to gossip sites, aiming to label her difficult, unhinged, and emotionally unstable. If you followed the entertainment news at the time, you might recall the sudden flood of articles and insider scoops describing Blake's on-set tantrums and erratic behavior. TMZ had a field day analyzing her outfits and expressions at various industry events. The result, before Blake even filed her lawsuit, an undercurrent of negative press had already done to poison the well of public opinion. Suddenly, that sweet, polished image she had cultivated from her Gossip Girl days and roles in celebrated films like The Age of Adeline was overshadowed by these persistent rumors that she was in fact a nightmare behind closed doors. But let's not pretend this smear campaign, if that's indeed what it was operated one-sidedly because Ballon's camp has its own story that Blake's team orchestrated a counter-campaign to be SMCH his personal and professional life, in including whispers about alleged affairs, hush money, and laws he used to silence people. The crossfire of rumor-mongering grew so intense that it became impossible to figure out who was lying and who was telling the truth. Pundits and fans were left to pick sides based on incomplete scraps of information. Industry insiders likened it to a PR bloodbath, with each side deploying well-connected publicists and friendly journalists to plant seeds of doubt in every corner of the internet. Suddenly, gossip bloggers held more power over star reputations than any official statement ever could. You'd wake up in the morning to see a new wave of conspiratorial tweets about Blake's meltdown or Baloney's behind-the-scenes manipulation, only to find them contradicted by fresh allegations that afternoon. The mere scale of these alleged campaigns laid bare an uncomfortable Hollywood truth. Stardom isn't just about acting chops or fan goodwill, it's about controlling the narrative, even if that means flinging mud until everyone is covered in it. For both Blake and Justin, the stakes weren't just personal grudges. This was about brand integrity, future film deals, and of course, who the public